Okay, let's access our knowledge of some of these vocabulary words. So we listened to the conversation, and there were many words that came up in the conversation. And maybe you heard some of these words. Maybe you thought, I know this word, or maybe I don't know this word. So we're going to talk about the words that came from the listening. So the first word that came up that I heard was afford. We can't afford. Right? We can't afford this car. What does this mean, afford? Sometimes we tell our children, we can't afford that toy. Okay, put it back. We're not getting that today. So what does afford mean? Well, afford has to do with, can you buy it? Do you have enough money to buy? And if you say we can't afford, this means we don't have enough money to purchase or to buy. If you can afford, then yes, you can pay for it. You have the money for it. So afford is, do I have the money to purchase? Do I have the cash to buy this? Okay, the next word is balance. Balance has a few meanings, but in this listening component, I think balance means how much do we have in the bank, right? Our balance. So we can check our balance if we have a savings or checking account. We can check how much balance do we have? How much do we have left in the bank? The next word is cash. I think we all know cash. This is the money, the actual dollars and coins that we have in our wallets. Cash, cash available. Credit. Credit, we think of credit cards, but credit is anything that you buy and you don't pay for at the moment. You pay for when the bill comes in the next month. We are buying it, but we are not paying cash. We are paying credit. We will pay for it later. Debt. This word debt. It has a B in it, and it's a silent B. So it sounds like debt. Can you say it? Debt. Debt is something that builds up that you owe, right? This is something that people are afraid of getting into when they put a lot of things on credit. They don't want to have debt. They don't want to have a lot of money owed to the credit card companies or to the banks. So debt is something that nobody wants to get into. Financing. Can you say that? Financing. Financing is offered with credit cards and at car dealerships. They can help you pay for something usually big. With many months or many years, you can pay the loan off. So they give you financing. Interest. When we think of interest, we usually think of percentages like 4% interest, 0% interest, 20% interest. And this is the money that is added to whatever you have borrowed. So if you are getting a house and the interest rate is 4%, then you are actually paying an extra amount because you are borrowing this money. So you are paying more than the actual cost of the house. You are paying the interest as well, and whatever the percentage is. Pay off. A lot of people want to pay off their loans as quickly as possible, so they pay extra each month to pay off. If you have a 5-year loan for a car, some people can pay off the whole amount in 3 years or 4 years. So pay off, we talk about when we are done with having to borrow money and we are done paying for whatever it is we bought. Suggests. When we have a relationship, like a husband and wife, one person in the relationship might suggest, right? They might suggest, let's do this, right? So we're going to listen again, and we're going to listen for these words, afford and balance, and maybe this will be more clear when we are thinking about, what is this all about? What are they saying? What do these words mean? So let's listen one more time.
Unit 7, Shopping. Page 85, exercises 2A and 2B.
Julie, look at this car. Automatic transmission, air conditioning, leather seats, sunroof, power windows. It's got everything. And it's only $27,500.
Ken, are you crazy? With tax and fees, that's about $30,000. We can't afford $30,000 for a car. Where are we going to get the money? The balance in our savings account is less than $8,000.
No problem. Look here. It says special financing available. Only 4% interest with 60 months to pay off the loan.
60 months to pay? That's 5 years. We're going to pay for that car every month for 5 years. Ken, you know I'm afraid of getting into debt. We have bills to pay every month, and we need to save money for college for the kids.
Well, Julie, tell me, do we need a car or don't we need a car? Our old one always needs repair, and it's...
Okay. We do need a car, but we don't need a new car. We could look for a used car. Let's go across the street and look. I'm sure we can find a good used car for $10,000 or even less than that.
Yeah, but Julie, look at this car. It's a beauty. We should get it. We can buy the car on credit. Everybody does it.
No, not everybody. My father always paid cash for everything. He didn't even have a credit card.
Well, your father never had any fun.
Oh.
And I'm not your father.
Unit 7.
Okay. All right, so let's think and talk. What things do people often buy on credit? Think about that. Maybe it's something that you or your friends or family, what are some things that people buy on credit using a credit card, or they are paying off for many years or many months? Think about some things. First thing that I think about is a car. You probably don't buy a car cash. It's a lot of cash if you have it. So because the price is so high, you can get a loan and pay it off for many years. So this is credit. Another thing I think about is a house. Most people do not buy a house with cash. It is on credit. They are borrowing money from a bank. Other big purchases, sometimes people buy computers on credit, televisions. Some people spend everything on credit. They buy their groceries on credit. They buy clothing on credit, toys on credit. Is this a good idea to buy things on credit? So I want you to think. I don't have the answer for you. I want you to think about your answer. Is it a good idea to buy things on credit? And then think why. Why is it good to buy on credit? Or why not? Why is it not good? And maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe sometimes we do buy things on credit because we need to. And sometimes we don't because we can pay the cash for it. So think about credit and the positives and negatives about credit. Remember, credit is something that you buy now and you pay for later. Okay. So, can we remember how much and how many? Right? How much was the cost of the new car? Do you remember? And how much is the cost with tax and fees? Those numbers get higher. How much money did this couple have in their savings account? What was the interest rate? How many months did they have to pay for the car? And then what is the cost of a used car? So I want you to think also when we're listening for numbers. How much and how many? Okay, now it's time for you to retell the story in your own words. And you can write this in your notebooks. Okay. What I'd like you to do is spend a few minutes retelling the story. We listened to this a few times, and I want you to write down who are the speakers, what's happening, what's the problem, and is there a resolution? Is there an answer? Is there an answer to the problem? Okay. So who are the speakers? What's happening? What's the problem? And resolution, if there is a resolution. I can help you out a little bit. This is in the student book, which you don't have at home, but I have a copy for you here. We can use some of these words, some of the new vocabulary that we learned today, to help us write this. So we remember these words: afford, balance, cash, credit, debt, financing, interest, payoff, and suggest. I want you to look at these words and see how we can make a story. We can do a retelling of what we listened to using these vocabulary words. So I'm going to read this, and I'm going to stop at points where we have a blank space. And when I stop, I want you to think, what word would be the best word for that line, for that space? Okay. Ken and his wife, Julie, are looking at cars. Ken wants to buy a new car that cost over $27,000. Julie thinks that they can't afford to spend that much money. In their savings account is less than $8,000. Okay, what word did you choose? Take a look at these words. Okay, I'm going to keep going. She's afraid of getting into, can you find the right word? But Ken says they can get to help pay for the new car. The rate is low and they can take 5 years to the loan. Ken isn't worried about buying things on Julie disagrees. That they could buy a used car. She says her father never had a credit card. He always paid for everything. Okay, take a look. Okay. Let's see if we got these correct. So I am going to play this so we can hear all of the words in the correct places. So what I want you to do is just follow along and see if you got the correct words in the correct spots.
Page 85, Exercise 3A.
Ken and his wife Julie are looking at cars. Ken wants to buy a new car that costs over $27,000. Julie thinks that they can't afford to spend that much money. The balance in their savings account is less than $8,000. She's afraid of getting into debt. But Ken says they can get financing to help pay for the new car. The interest rate is low, and they can take 5 years to pay off the loan. Ken isn't worried about buying things on credit. Julie disagrees. She suggests that they could buy a used car. She says her father never had a credit card. He always paid cash for everything.
Page 85.
Okay, so now what I would like you to do, since we have a good grasp of the vocabulary and the unit of shopping, I would like to take some time to look at your workbooks. So take out your workbook and we are going to look at Unit 7, Shopping. I would like you to turn to page 78 in your workbook. Please turn to 78 in your workbook. And we're going to start with a lesson with listening, more listening. We have a conversation here between two different people. We are still talking about shopping, and we are still talking about credit and loans and interest rates. But these are different people, and we can look at the picture first. It looks like, what do you see in the picture? Who are they and where are they? So when I think of who, I think that these people may be friends. I don't know if that's your guess. Maybe they are friends. And it looks to me like, where are they? Looks to me like they are in a kitchen, right? Drinking coffee and talking. They're having a discussion. So we have Sophia and we have Jackie. And I'm going to read it first, And then we can listen also. Okay, we can listen to the conversation. Okay, so you also have this scan. You can scan with your phones if you want to practice on your own. But I'm going to play it for you as well. So we have Sophia. Sophia's talking first, and she says, "Do you use your credit card a lot?" Jackie says, "Yes, all the time. I have 4 cards." And Sophia says, "Really? Isn't it difficult to pay them off? The interest rates are so high." Jackie says, "I never charge more than $100 on each card." Sophia says, "I'm thinking about buying a new refrigerator, but I can't afford it." Jackie says, "Why don't you buy it on credit? You can pay for it later." Sophia says, "I don't want to get into debt. We already have to pay off our car loan." Jackie says, "Maybe you could look in the newspaper or online and find a used refrigerator." Sophia says, "That's a good idea." So let's think about this. What are they talking about, right? Well, who are the speakers first? We know Sophia, Jackie, right? They're friends. What are they talking about? What's the problem? And is there a solution to the problem? See if you can answer that. Maybe you can't. Maybe we need to hear it one more time.
Unit 7, Shopping. Page 78. Exercise 1.
Do you use your credit card a lot?
Yes, all the time. I have 4 cards.
Really? Isn't it difficult to pay them off? The interest rates are so high.
I never charge more than $100 on each card.
I'm thinking about buying a new refrigerator, but I can't afford it.
Why don't you buy it on credit? You can pay for it later.
I don't want to get into debt. We already have to pay off our car loan.
Maybe you could look in the newspaper or online and find a used refrigerator.
That's a good idea.
Unit 7,